Between 1918 and 1919, a killer entered New Orleans homes through chiseled rear doors and attacked families with their own axes. He wrote a letter to newspapers promising to spare any home where jazz played at midnight on a Tuesday. This chilling declaration solidified his legend, casting a unique shadow over a city already steeped in the macabre. No one had ever encountered a murderer quite like the Axeman. The city of New Orleans in the late 1910s was a vibrant, bustling port, a melting pot of cultures and the undeniable birthplace of jazz. Its streets thrummed with life, even as the shadow of World War I loomed large. A distinctive Creole identity intertwined with Italian immigrant communities, forming tight-knit neighborhoods where family businesses thrived. This was the stage for a series of brutal, seemingly random attacks that would grip the public imagination. Against this backdrop of bustling industry and burgeoning music, a sinister pattern began to emerge in May 1918. Victims were typically Italian-American grocers or their families, attacked in their sleep. The killer always gained entry by chiseling out a panel of a rear door, then leaving their victims' blood-stained axes behind. Authorities were baffled, facing a predator who left few conventional clues. The first documented attack targeted Joseph and Catherine Maggio in their home on Upper Line Street. Joseph died from a fractured skull and slashed throat, while Catherine succumbed days later to her injuries. Weeks later, grocer Louis Bassumer and his mistress, Anna Harriet Lowe, were violently assaulted, Bassumer surviving to identify his assailant, albeit inconsistently. These initial crimes sent a ripple of fear through the close-knit communities, documented vividly in local newspaper archives. The assaults continued with terrifying regularity, escalating throughout the autumn and winter of 1918. August and Anna Laumann were attacked in their bed, leaving Anna with a fractured skull. Then, in March 1919, the Cordemelia family, Rosie, Frank, and their 2-year-old daughter Mary, were brutally struck down. Mary, tragically, did not survive, becoming the youngest victim of the unknown assailant. Forensic records from the time confirmed a consistent modus operandi: forced entry, the use of an axe found on the premises, and often a straight razor left at the scene. Despite extensive police investigations, including interviews and searches, no perpetrator was ever apprehended or charged. The victims, predominantly from the Italian immigrant community, often lived above their businesses, making them vulnerable targets in their own homes. Then, in March 1919, a chilling letter appeared in the local newspapers, purportedly from the Axeman himself. It was a macabre declaration, threatening more violence but offering an unusual reprieve. He would spare any home where a jazz band was playing at the stroke of midnight the following Tuesday. This extraordinary public challenge transformed the city's fear into a peculiar, collective defiance. Jazz halls across New Orleans pulsed with music that night, as residents sought safety in syncopated rhythms. Historians debate the letter's authenticity, questioning if it was a genuine communication or a sensationalist hoax designed to stir further panic. Yet, the attacks ceased abruptly after the jazz ultimatum, only to resume briefly months later. While official records closed the case without a conviction, some theories point to a vengeance motive, perhaps against figures involved in the Black Hand Mafia. The true identity of the Axeman, however, remains shrouded in conjecture. The Axeman's reign of terror deeply scarred New Orleans, leaving an indelible mark on its collective memory. The story became intertwined with the very fabric of the city's musical heritage, a dark chapter often retold in hushed tones. It highlighted the vulnerabilities of immigrant communities and the limitations of early 20th century policing in the face of a phantom menace. The unsettling question of who he truly was persisted long after the final attack. Even today, the legend endures, whispered in the humid air of New Orleans, a city accustomed to ghosts. The Axeman's unique blend of brutality and bizarre theatricality created a haunting legacy. We know his method, we know his victims, but the face behind the axe, the true motive for his deeds, remains as elusive as the vanishing notes of a midnight jazz solo. And perhaps, in the shadows of history, he still waits.